My life story like Black Rob drinking OE. That brolic shit broken down like Matt Hardy. See through these eyes and people my mind see. It's fucked up, ain't it? No need to remind me, but let me get to it. The stupid shit I was doing left other men dead of their lives, it's just ruined. From ODs to stick-ups going wrong, I stay sharp.
What up, y'all? Welcome back to Culture Corner Wrestling. We are back. It's been a few weeks, but we got to talk about WrestleMania. You know me. I'm your host, Brad Bailey. My co-host, Charlotte Elemental. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful, wonderful.
Can you hear me, Charlotte?
Absolutely.
You can hear me. Good shit. We are live today. We are live. We don't usually do this show live. We usually record, but, we got to talk about this in a timely fashion. Big WrestleMania, pretty huge event. I gotta say top five ever. I actually sat there and I watched every minute of it, and that's usually rare these days for WrestleMania because there's a lot of filler. I mean, there was a little bit of filler, but we'll get to that. Shaw, what are your thoughts?
For me, it was definitely the best in at least, I got to say, at least 5-6 years, probably, if not longer. I'd have to sit there and think about it further to give you a solid number, but roughly that. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed both nights' main events immensely. Those are probably my two favorite parts of the whole thing. I enjoyed the ladder match. A couple things stand out, but for the most part, it was really just all about, Roman Reigns, Cody, The Rock, Seth Rollins.
Right.
I mean, that's really was the what did they say? The straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely was. I mean, it was built that way. It was built that way from a year ago, and even with the seeds of seeds of Rock coming in, and everyone's like, no, because of this and that. Hey, he did come back. He did his thing. Well, it's been a long time since the dude had an actual match over 19 seconds. So he looked good. He could do it. He was selling great. His selling was on point still. That's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think The Rock killed it. I mean, I was just like, damn, it's like this guy could probably do this for another 10 years just based on how he handled himself in that match. I'm not saying maybe not full-time schedule, but close to it. I feel like he's in good enough shape to do it. He looks a lot better than, for example, somebody like Hulk Hogan at that age or Ric Flair at that age.
Right.
But he's also taken a lot of time off of wrestling, so that may be a big part of that as well. But man, I thought The Rock looked amazing. I was like, wow, this dude looks like he hasn't missed a step at all. And yeah, I mean, both nights' main events definitely stood out the most, I would say. I like seeing Sami Zayn win the Intercontinental title. That also frees up Gunther to hopefully challenge for one of the titles. So yeah, man. I don't know how I feel about Damian Priest as champion.
Right.
I've never been too big on him personally. Not to say he can't get the job done, so we'll have to wait and see. And it all kind of depends what they give him anyway. You know what I mean? It's kind of up to the storyline and what's going to happen there. But they have been teasing for a while the dissension and the Judgment Day, so that could be part of it. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out. I expect Drew McIntyre, if he sticks around and re-signs, to want to murder CM Punk. Looking forward to that. Yeah, this WrestleMania was awesome, though. I mean, top to bottom, it was all really good wrestling in ring for the most part. I thought the main event, the Cody and night 2 main event, was a little overbooked, but you can't really complain when it's overbooked and it played out how it did.
We knew it was going to be, though. We already knew.
Yeah, exactly. And I figured, well, short of having Stone Cold there, I don't know how much better you could do, really, as far as having somebody show up like that. But that I thought that was cool, just to tie into that generation, kind of passing of the torch in a way.
Yeah, it was good. It started off hot with it started off McIntyre Rollins.
Yeah, that was a good match.
I know you love the way Rollins was dressed both nights.
Oh my God, I couldn't stand it. What the hell was going on?
even my wife, she's like, "What the hell is he wearing?" I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, my wife said the same thing. She's like,
I
"What?"
have no clue what he's wearing, but they started off. The only thing I didn't like about that first match is that they would just finisher after finisher after finish. It was like, all right, slow it down, pump the
Yeah,
brakes.
spamming them.
Yeah, there's other moves you could do that could look super devastating, and you could still get a kick out at 2. Like, come on now. So I think that was a little much. Like you said, for the most part, there's not too many forgettable things. Like AJ and LA Knight, that was a great match.
Yeah,
That
that was good.
hell
I
yeah, that
agree with
really put LA over. I think they're gonna try to start moving now that the both titles are freed up in different spots. They can start actually utilizing these dudes that they've been bringing up that they get to a certain point and then they couldn't do anything with because there's 2 titles wrapped up with Roman. So now I personally think going back to Priest is I really think that he's a transitional champion, man. I really do. I think somebody like Gunther is gonna come in and take that from him. Like maybe a month,
you.
maybe he'll make 2 pay-per-views, and then by the 3rd one, he loses it.
We'll see.
I don't see him having a long title reign, and I don't understand why they did that to McIntyre moment and all that bullshit that he missed during the pandemic, and then they just
Well,
snatch it right from him. I'm like, holy shit! That was one of the biggest surprises I think of the whole weekend.
yeah, I think it was cool though the way they did it. Especially like you can look at it a couple different ways. Let's say he is leaving the company. That's kind of a classy way to give him like his moment in front of the fans and thank him for what he did do during the pandemic. Since the other 2 times he won it, he couldn't do that. Um, and then also it was just I thought it was hilarious how it played out. Like how Punk just all of a sudden got up and just beat the shit out of him. And then Priest came out and cashed in on it. It was funny. But yeah, I don't know. I would think he's going to stick around in the title picture, though. I don't see him falling down the card, really. It's interesting. They got a lot of people
Yeah,
right
no,
now that they're putting in main event scenarios. We got
it's a little too much
McIntyre.
at this point, but both companies' rosters are so.
Well, yeah, they're both bulging at this
I
point.
think we're having a little bit of a connection issue right now.
But yeah, I mean, both companies have huge stacked rosters right now, so it's like it's really all about booking, and that's where WWE has the advantage right now, clearly. And I mean, actually, tonight we're gonna see the footage from All In or whatever, which I think is just I don't get what they're trying to accomplish. If it really is the real footage, what they're trying to do over there by showing it. But we'll see. I feel like it should be kind of like a swerve, like after the Montreal Screwjob, how like Shawn Michaels was like, "Oh, let's bring out Bret Hart," and his music played, and then the little guy came out dressed as Bret Hart.
It was
But it really wasn't
the
Bret
little
Hart 'cause he
guy.
was
Yeah.
yeah, it's like that. Something like that could be funny, but I don't know if people are okay with the bait and switch with like that. I would be okay with it because I think it'd be funny, but I also don't really like the Young Bucks either way. So, yeah, man, I don't know
Right.
what they're trying to do there. But back to WrestleMania though. That AJ Styles and LA
Hold
Knight
up, hold
match
up.
was dope.
I don't want to cut you off, but our brother King Charisma has joined us. Let me bring him up.
Oh, word. Man, who's there in the flesh?
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yo.
What up, man?
I'm here. I can't see you guys for some reason, but I can definitely hear you.
What's good, brother? Yeah, your camera's frozen. So,
Is it?
but we can hear you. We can hear you. We were just
I can
talking
hear
about
him.
WrestleMania. We were talking about WrestleMania. What I thought. Oh shit! There he went. Hey, it's live. That's
I'm
what
still doing
happens. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, it was a good night. Like you saw. Oh, here he's back. Let's bring him back up.
Now
See
I can
what's
see
good.
you guys. I can see you guys now.
Oh, yo. What up, bro?
Yeah, chilling, man. I was actually setting off a million freaking wave files into this damn session and it wasn't working, so I was a few minutes late.
Nah, no worries. We were just talking about WrestleMania, and you were there in the flesh, my man.
I was live in the flesh.
Must have been a good time. They looked it 75,000 strong out there. That place was packed.
WrestleMania 40 in Philly owes me absolutely nothing.
Mm.
It owes me absolutely nothing. Disappointed in the crowd for night one, but they damn sure made up for it night two, so I'll let it slide.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
And
they
to be
did.
fair, it was fucking freezing, so it's okay.
And it's funny because they made note of that on TV during night two. They were like, "Yeah, the crowd must have been thawing out last night because now they're raucous and all that." So
Yeah,
it's
no,
funny how they
even Stephanie McMahon in like the opening stage, she threw a little shot. She's like, "It's a little nicer out here today."
Hmm. Yeah.
Translation: we were shitty night one, but dude, it was freaking brutal out there. I made the best of it because I was with my homie, but it was brutal. It was brutal for like the last three matches. Like the main event was freezing. It was like 40 degrees.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild that they're out there performing like that too, because that's not something that they're used to doing on a
It's
day-to-day
probably
basis.
you think about it, it's probably not that bad for them because they're out there running, working
Right.
up a sweat.
Yeah, I think the ring is ventilated too. So
So we were giving our thoughts. What were your thoughts? Because we both agree that it's one of the best manias that's been along in probably the past 10 years. So
I agree. Definitely of the past 10 years. I mean, those two main events were so fucking good, man. Like, feel how you want about the rest of the card, but like those two main events are some of the best main events we've ever seen in the freaking sport ever. So it's like, god damn. I wasn't in love with every other match, especially not that awful Usos match, for Christ's sakes. But
yeah, we didn't get that far yet.
but yeah,
hell
but
yeah.
the two main events were so damn good. They were some of the best main events I've seen. I know that for sure.
It started off real hot. It really did. And it just kept going. Like there wasn't really just the Usos. I thought was the really like that was bad. What were they thinking? Well, we'll just get it out of it. Let's do it. What's going on with the Usos and their brother grudge match that should have been this fabulous match, and they did nothing but super kicks.
I think it needed a stipulation. I said that as soon as I heard it. I was like, that should be a dope match if they add a stipulation given their athletic ability, but they have a similar freaking skill set. When you put two guys that are like the exact same almost, you kind of know what you're gonna get, and it might end up getting real stale and boring, and that's exactly what the hell happened. I think it was a total of like 22 super kicks or some shit. So I think it needed a stipulation like a tribal combat or a street fight or steel cage or something. It needed something because that was atrocious. It was worse than I thought it would be though, and it was worse in the flesh too. Like on TV, it might not have been as bad. I haven't watched the playback yet, but I know in the building, it was like, what the hell is this going on here?
Because there's so much. The lull in time is so different when you're there live, and yeah, it was bad. But the Bucks would have been proud. The young Bucks they probably sent them something.
I remember thinking watching that match, like, yep, the Young Bucks would probably love this shit because it was like very similar to a match that I could imagine them two wrestling.
Right. Yeah. They should have added. They should have done something like you said, a cage match, because they haven't done many cage matches in Mania. What if they had maybe 3 total in 40 years? So it's like,
yeah, they've had more Hell in a Cells. So it's like, what the fuck?
Right, do an old school cage, but even bring out the blue cage. You know what I mean? They still have that shit.
Yeah.
Bring out the old school blue cage, throw that up. Hell yeah! Like do a little thinking. Just don't. Yeah, I don't understand what. Maybe they were just riding off what the main event was going to be, knowing that the rest of the show was hot, and they could just throw some bullshit in there. Who knows what their thought process was? But I'm sure they've heard it when they got backstage.
In terms of a draw, you hear brother versus brother, Uso versus Uso, two of the longest tag team reigns ever. It's like that's a hot attraction, and they whoever produced that match dropped the ball really bad.
Hell yeah.
I think the spear in the main event of night 2 off the damn ramp was more interesting than that entire match.
It definitely was. Right. It was the biggest spot they did all weekend. So it's like, come on now. They really did bad. They really did. All the ladies did well. I like the Jade Cargill and Belair match. That was a good match to keep them, make them a little faction, get that going, show their little bit of you. But you can already see that Jade and Belair are fighting to be that alpha dog. So that's good that they can try to keep that going. Jade, they kept her safe. They didn't
Yeah.
expose her. I thought
Yeah.
she would be exposed by now, at least. I mean, she's only had 2 or 3 matches, but I really thought she would be fully exposed by now, just the
I'm
way.
starting to think it's only a matter of time, though. The more I watch her, it doesn't really seem like she's any better than what she was doing, like ring wise anyway. The way she moves in the ring felt no different than what she was doing in AEW thus far, from what I've seen.
Yeah, she's very, very clunky. You can tell. I don't understand how she's not a little more agile and a little more athletic in
Yeah,
that
and
body.
she's got 6 months of like the best training in the sport, so I'm not understanding what the hell's going on. But
we'll see. I mean, it's early too.
yeah,
Right,
it is
who
early.
knows?
We'll see. And we also, I mean, we're just going off of what we see. For all we know, they could just be saving her because she has a heavy workload coming up physically. You never know. But from what we see, it's like very elementary. You know what I mean?
Right, and but presentation is everything in their business.
Yeah.
So it's like they're showing me
Well,
something
got
that's not too great, you know.
Yeah.
But moving over to women that are killing it, Rhea and Becky, they did a great job. Becky looked like a pack of Marlboro Blacks. She
Yep,
was dressed
yep.
as a pack of Marlboro Blacks. That's all as soon as she walked out and took that skirt thing off or whatever, that dress, I was like, what the hell is this bitch been smoking? But she did well.
Do you think they told us enough times on the broadcast how she was sick all week? I don't think they told us that many times. Jesus Christ, they told us every other sentence. She had a 102-degree fever this whole week.
They
So this
show
is her
they-
flu game.
anytime anybody has ever wrestled within a few days of having the flu, they play that shit up so much.
She
It's
had probably
ridiculous.
been healthy for a couple of days, and they were playing it up like
They were saying it so much that I thought she was gonna win.
Yeah,
I
no,
really-
me too. That's why
Yeah.
I was like, well, I mean, I was there, but when I watched the playback of I watched a little bit of some of the playback, and I was like, in the building, it made it seem like she was gonna win too, like just how the match was choreographed. But when I watched the playback, I was like, you would think she's gonna freaking win this thing.
Yeah.
They're like, and now spreading flu all over the locker room and the stadium.
Yeah,
Right.
Becky Lynch.
Right. It's like, haven't you learned your lesson? But Rhea did excellent. Rhea's a damn star. Her entrance was great. I thought that dude was who the hell? He looked like a certain character from a movie. I thought that's who he was. I don't have no idea who the band was that opened up for that. But that dude,
Oh.
but he kind of looked like Rhea too. So I was like, what's going on here? Then she came out, so I was like, oh, okay.
yeah.
But I didn't know if he was wearing like kind of like a Rhea mask, or with like some sort of character mask or something. But
Rhea with the long hairs I'm very happy. I'm very pleased with this look here.
yeah,
It won't
she
last
did-
forever, but
it's good that she
looks
brought
good.
it back. But she did, and like I said, she's a star, man. She could transition over to movies if she had some like acting coaching, because she definitely needs that end of it. But just her look in general and anything, like, I'm not surprised she wasn't cast in the new Mad Max movie.
You have to lose that accent.
Yeah.
Well, it can be worked on, you know, hopefully, if she can.
Sure, you'd
Some
love her
people-
help with that, wouldn't you?
Some people can't. Oh, I'll try to teach her how to talk like how we talk up
Cool.
here. Like, hey, it's so easy.
John
Just talk
Paul.
like this. Just talk like this.
Don't let me teach her Philly terms and Philly slang.
I know, right?
Shit.
Jesus, but yeah, she did great. Bailey, that was a big
What up,
win for
No,
her.
I was gonna say the Bailey and Io Sky match. That tore the house down right before the main event. That was a good one.
I didn't
Yeah,
like
that
the
was
whole
dope.
match. I didn't like the match itself in particular, but the whole moment and everything for Bailey, that's cool, because she definitely deserved it. She's been doing her thing. She was carrying them for a real long time, and now she finally gets it. So that's dope for her. I was surprised there was only one females match on night 2, though, right? There was only one, because they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they only had like 3 total, which is kind of crazy, you know, because they have such a huge female roster. You figure they would have done some wild, like 20 women over the top bullshit, but they didn't do anything like that this year, which is crazy. So you can obviously tell that must have been a Vince thing. Throw a Rumble in there. Throw a
Yeah,
throw a Battle Royal.
I think as fucked up as it sounds, I don't think that they see that many women in the division as ready for that
Sorry.
spot.
I think I think that the male roster is so strong right now
Yeah,
that
it's not even their fault. It's
compared
just-
to the women's roster and how like cold the women's roster is right now comparatively, that I really think it was just more of like it really was it had nothing to do with like sex or anything like that. It was just weighing up,
Mm.
how many good storylines we have in each division. How many stars we have in those storylines, which ones are hot, which ones are not. I feel just I can you name any of the other storylines for the women?
Not really.
And
'Cause
it's
there's
crazy
always
because
been-
even like two top female stars with Rhea and Becky, people were not too like hot on that storyline to begin with. They had to like really sell it at the end for people to even somewhat give a shit about the match. You know what I mean? Like that. Even myself, I'm like, I don't really care for this feud that much. I feel like Becky's doing this whole like I gotta prove myself thing, but the whole time she's achieved like everything. So I wasn't buying it. The interactions they had on every Raw, like the last 2 or 3 before Mania, I was like, all right, they're trying their best to sell this feud, and now I'm actually somewhat interested to see the match, and I don't mind it. But even that, like if two of your top female stars at the moment can't sell a damn feud because nobody really cares about it, it just shows you if that doesn't sell it, then what the hell are we selling in the rest of the women's division?
But
You know
she
what I
had
mean?
100. She had 102-degree fever though.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
Oh,
they just
that gives her a pass. She had 102-degree fever.
yeah, she like that gives her the pass, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, it was a great show overall. It really was. I mean, there's not much more we can say about it. It's so
That's really nitpicking.
right. You just want to just go at the certain just bullshit parts, but there really wasn't too many. Undertaker, I want to know if he was under the ring all damn night because I don't know when they snuck his ass in. I don't.
Playing
When
under
did
his
they
phone
sneak
under
him
there, I
in?
guess. I don't know.
Dude, when did they sneak his ass in? I don't get it because
I was there and I couldn't peep it. I couldn't pinpoint it at all.
right.
I guess like Julia showed up at the NXT show the day before, and I guess they snuck her in under a hood to get her into the crowd like during the show. So maybe they did something similar to that.
Yeah, but that dude's 6'10".
Yeah, like how?
You can't
That's
be just
another thing. He's
throwing.
not like small. Like he's freaking 6'9", 6'10". So how the hell do you even sneak him in?
Well, you
Maybe
saw
he was under the ring
What about those
all
black
night.
tents that were all set up where they were like filming from?
Yeah, but at the top of those, there's like it's transparent. Like the tent part is like clear.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm like, I figured somebody at least in the upper levels would see something. I don't know, but
Yeah, it's wild. He must have been
I
under there
swore
the
when he
whole
came
night.
out, I thought that glass was gonna shatter. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought I was gonna hear that glass shatter, but I think Taker actually makes more sense though because of his history. Like with Roman in particular, he was like his last Mania like loss was
Yeah.
Roman or whatever.
Cena,
Where he lost the streak was to someone who shall not be named. We don't know who's watching right now, who's federal. It was a Paul Heyman guy. So you never know. He wanted to go after, maybe some demons of his past. So I think it low-key made more sense. Stone Cold got the best of Rock 2 out of 3 times. So he doesn't really have that grudge. Taker still had some unfinished business, I feel like. So it made sense.
Yeah,
Once I
definitely.
broke it down, I didn't realize at first it made sense.
They booked it to hell, but it was some good booking. So,
but everybody, like you said, everybody there made sense. Cena being there made sense with the recent storylines, losing to Solo Sikoa, him coming out and getting revenge on him, Undertaker losing to Roman. So, I mean, it was slightly overbooked, but it doesn't really matter because in the end, it was still awesome.
I think with Seth Rollins saying the line a few months back, like "I'll be your shield," and then literally coming out and being his shield, I think that part was really well done. Like it was, like he said, "I'm gonna be your shield. I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna bring that memory of like me and Roman being together back, and me like stabbing him in the back, hitting him with the chair, and having Roman like not be able to get over it, and in the moment it cost him everything. Like he chose revenge over his current status. Just brilliant, beautifully done, amazing.
He dyed his hair too, right? Did I imagine that?
Who?
You talking about Seth? Yeah, but I don't think he did it that fast. Obviously, I think he probably did it at the beginning of the night so he could have that look for the Shield. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great show.
Poor Drew, man. Poor Drew, man.
Yeah, I thought that I thought that was a little silly to do it. I mean, they could have waited till the Monday and then had them play some shit. But I mean, the Punk interaction and Drew should have still went down. But to having Damien cash in on him 10 minutes after he won, I don't think that was a good move.
Well,
Because
I don't disagree with it only for the aspect that it's gonna heat up Punk and Drew, so I'm fine with it. In the stadium, I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, of all times, they're gonna have this guy cash in there. I just don't know. The only reason I was confused is because I was like, what the hell are they gonna do with him as champion now? Because if they're doing, one good part of it is the Drew and Punk feud heats up more than it already has been. We don't know when Punk's gonna come back, but we're gonna assume it's gonna be in the next few months if he doesn't get hurt again. But now with Priest as champion, I mean, his number one contender right now is Jey Uso. So I'm like, where are they going with this? How long is this reign gonna last? It's not gonna be a long reign.
no, I said before you got on, I think that he's going to be like a 2-month champion, and then Gunther's
Yeah.
taking it from him. Gunther's going to
Jinder
take.
Mahal.
Do you think Jinder's going to come back for one more
Him
run?
and Jinder?
One more
Oh,
run,
man.
baby.
One more Jinder run. Where does the bloodline go? We know Roman's probably going to be taking some time off,
Ooh,
so
I have a
he's going to
prediction. I already put it
have
in.
3 to 6 months. I saw your prediction in the chat. I really don't have anything. I think they just stop it and then let everybody go on their merry way and figure things out. Because who's going to take over? Because it's Roman Reigns. You can't
Yeah.
just give that shit to Solo and be like, oh, you're the tribal chief now.
Hell no.
That diminishes the title of the tribal chief. So who takes it? Does Jay come back over and say, take it from him, and it changes it to a face group? Like, there's only a couple of ways you could really go with that, and
I don't know.
none of them really make sense.
What about if Jacob Fatu just comes in straight up and takes over?
But no one knows him except for the smarties like us. We know who he is. I
Yeah.
mean, Animal.
But it only takes one good intro and a good reaction from them to be in fear of him to really like start the whole thing. So I don't think that's an issue. It's just you got to do it just right.
You want to take them down to like super heel piece of shits then, because that's, I think, the only way you could, if you want to make him look like
hard
a
heel.
straight killer, he has to go in there and just start. He has to take out. Not even in the ring. He has to be out backstage, just taking everybody out, everybody. And at the end of the show, leave the whole entire roster, like everybody, even some of the ladies, are gonna get it. You know what I mean? Because if that's how you want to portray that character and take that bloodline that way, he has to go in there as a murderer. He has to.
Yeah, no, 'cause I think that could help. I think obviously Roman's gonna take some time off. I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna go like the redemption arc route. I'm not gonna assume that it's as a face. Obviously, maybe he does come back as one of those type heels and he continues it. Because I mean, obviously everybody knows his best work has been as a heel. It's not even close. So I don't know. I think he's doing stuff on Twitter, like tweeting yesterday I mourned is day one. So we might get him back around SummerSlam if I had to guess. So, there's really no telling, especially because now in terms of the bloodline, all that's left is Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. And there's not really much you can do with that.
We've got Jacob Fatu and Thomas Tang. What the hell's his name? Tamatonga.
I don't know.
Both waiting in the wings.
I don't think he'd be using that in WWE. They probably change up his name. Most
most
likely.
Which I don't think that's his actual birth name either. So.
No, I don't think it is either. But
no. But I don't know. I don't know where they would be wanting to take the bloodline as a story. Heyman's not going to come walking out with just Solo and Jimmy. He's not working those nights if he's not working with Roman.
No, definitely not.
Right. So it's like, where do they go? They have a lot of clear paths on all the other stories that they can go with. There's a ton of shit to build on, but it's just now they're kind of like stuck, I think. And I think they should just break it up and Roman goes away, so the bloodline falls and whatever. And then at some point, like he said, if he comes back SummerSlam or even Survivor Series or even Rumble, he takes off till next year's Rumble. Then they do something and bring them back together, faces, whatever. They can do anything. It's their show, that's their story. But I don't know. I think they should just snap that shit.
Snap it at least if it's for right now. Like if
So no
he wants
DX
to,
2.0 it?
yeah, he can come back and then rebuild the bloodline rather than just coming back and we're back together, because that wouldn't make any sense. If they wanted to have him return, have him like present himself as a listen, I'm here, I'm back. Do that first and then reform some version of the bloodline, whether it's with Jacob Fatu, if Jimmy Uso's still around, so let's go, whatever the case may be. Just I wouldn't rush right into it though. If he returns, don't say, "Oh yeah, I'm back, so the bloodline's back." I think that would be cheap. I think that would be lazy. So I think if he comes back, have him present himself as Roman Reigns without the bloodline first, and then build the bloodline back up if they plan on even bringing the bloodline back together consistently. So
Definitely. Is Fatu definitely signed? I haven't even seen
Yeah,
anything.
they're both
He is?
signed. What I would do honestly is exactly what he just said, except in the interim time, I would have like them form the bloodline and keep it going like immediately with them to add it to the group, but have it where like Solo Sikoa says by decree of the final boss or some shit, I'm the new leader here until otherwise or whatever. And then
Right.
have Roman come back and be a face at that point, and then have that like be the conflict after whatever his comeback is, whether
yeah,
it's against Cody or whatever it may be.
Yeah, they could go that route too.
yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
You also have to, like, I know in terms of who you just named, this might be unrelated. You also have to factor in that the Usos are gonna get back together at some point.
Yeah,
too.
most likely.
So
Yeah, they're gonna have to if they're
They're trying to-
they're gonna want that one last run. They're not spring chickens, even though they still out there flying around. They've been in the business for a long fucking time. People don't even realize how long. But
2011,
yeah,
I think 13
they
years.
have something like that. They have a lot of different things that they can do. WWE is at its peak right now. They're not struggling, but let's move on to a company that's struggling because we got some things to say about AEW. Oh my god. Tonight at some point we'll see if they're going to air that footage or if it's going to be a joke or what's going to happen. I think they're actually going to air the footage because, like Jim Cornette said, Punk is the biggest draw in two companies now at the same time. They need him. I think Tony's finally starting to see like shit. I picked the wrong horse. Like I should have
Yeah,
stayed
you
with
think?
this guy. I should have stayed with this guy instead of
Well,
these
he
guys.
can't unpick himself though, because ultimately it's pretty much like everything that Punk was saying about it looking like how he said he isn't a boss is exactly what everybody's criticism has been about him, pretty much when he boiled it down. Other than the unfair stuff and a lot of the fringe type crap, but like the main thing has been he needs to have somebody else book. He's not acting like a boss. He won't put his foot down about anything. People just kind of do whatever they want. Blah 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 blah. So I don't know.
I've
I don't
said
know
it
what
since
the
we
video
started
can
this.
change.
I've said it since we started this. The dude is a puss. And that's just it. He's a puss, and he's around all these dudes that are just jacked to the gills and just ready to go at every second. And he's this little scared guy. And when they say boo to him, he's like, I fear for my life. It's like, come on now. I really hope that the footage is real. And I want them to show us that Punk's a total liar. Like he just picked Tony up by his scruffy hair, like just right off the ground and was like, I'm gonna kill you. Like if that's how far I want it to be the other way for him. So he can actually run his company and say, look, see, I tried to be a boss, but it's not going to be that way. It's going to be him sitting down, Punk over him, giving him the finger, saying this, that, and the third. And he was afraid for his life because he had a man shadowing over him. It's just him. It's his nature. He can't run that sort of business. I want to, like even Punk said, I don't know if you guys watched the Ariel Helwani episode with Punk, but
Well, it's not outtakes. I didn't watch the whole thing.
he was like, I wonder how the Jaguars are run. Like, but NFL has a checks and balances at least to override. But imagine if they didn't and he was allowed to run the Jaguars
Well,
anyway.
hold on. you bring up the Jaguars. I don't know if it was last year, but it was within the last handful of years. They actually did a poll, I guess, with NFL players and asked them like where was the very last place in the NFL they would want to play, and the Jacksonville Jaguars won. And then they've done some other studies that show like the Jaguars like didn't really treat the players as well as anybody else, and blah blah blah. Just non-biased opinion and whatnot. So they're not exactly known, to be the best in the NFL circles as is. Never mind whatever
Makes
they're
sense.
doing over here.
It makes sense because
It's a perfect analogy right there.
whoever's
And I love
whoever's the
AEW.
head of their
too. It's
whoever's
just
the head of their management team and whoever's supposed to be taking care of Tony needs to get fired or his father needs to step into place and be like, listen, you're just blowing my money, dude. Like, what are you doing? I know, I get that they're billionaires, but it comes to a point when you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a hobby, because that's basically what it is to him. It's a hobby that someone needs to step in and say, hey, let's have a little oversight here, or form a committee, form a booking committee, something. He needs help in some sort of way. And like you say, you love AEW.
Get actual writers that are
right,
have
something
stuff that's not all over the place.
Even if you don't want to go the sports entertainment route and have writers, have an old school NWA booking committee.
Yeah, some kind of structure too. Like people that are gonna be like, if you're a little pussy dude that's afraid to like put your foot down with your employee, that's fine. Have somebody be that workhorse though. That's gonna be like, listen, there's certain shit that he's gonna just allow because he's gonna fear for his life, like you said. But I'm not gonna be that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be the enforcer in all of this to make sure that we have some kind of that the lunatics don't run the asylum, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, Tony Khan's the kind of guy that's never been punched in the face.
Right, exactly.
Well, and from what Punk was saying in that interview, it sounds like he was the one being asked to do exactly that, and then he was like, "You don't want me to," and they were like, "No, do it." And he was like, "All right."
Right, yeah, he was the boss of that show. That's why they literally made that show for Punk to keep him away from the elite, and they were supposed to have all those rosters separated. And for some reason, Jack Perry got his way on the show, wanted to do something. Punk said no. He said 5 people have already told you no, that you've cussed them out. He's like, now cuss me out, and I'm still going to tell you no. And it was just that. And he said the Punk's recollection of it was Perry was just like, all right, cool, and walked away. But he obviously got a little, panties in a bunch about it. And then he had to take it out, 2 months later and get this dude fired or quit, or however you want to look at it. But it's like, come on, man. You just let your cash cow walk out for some dude that's going to be, back on the indies after you release him or after you don't re-sign him. Like, come on now. Like that's such a dumb move. I haven't watched AEW in a minute. I keep up on it. Like I catch out highlights and shit like that. I can't sit there and watch that crap anymore. It's like there's nothing really, even like the Christian Cage character has become stale. It's like everything that they've done that was good 3-4 months ago.
What they did with Ed, what they're doing with Edge is fucking brutal. Like it's just it's horrendous to watch.
And him coming out and doing a like rah speech, that was like super
cool. God. First of all,
you don't acknowledge the noise. You just keep moving forward and keep trying to improve.
And that's not to say there isn't somebody that should be that voice to do that. I think that this is why I'm so mad, because he was one of my favorites growing up. I think he's a freaking clown for doing that. Because I'm like, bro, you are a WWE lifer. Yes, you're in AEW now. You did it and swore that you did it to go back with Christian or whatever. That's fine. That's all good. But when they're under fire right now because of the Punk interview and he's saying certain things about the company or whatever, and they designate a person to go out there and cut a promo and be like, hey, we're the greatest wrestling company in the world. Nobody does it like AEW. You're going to have a WWE lifer do that? And you're just as much of a clown to agree to do that. Why would you agree to that shit? You should stay out of that. Somebody that's been in AEW for a majority of their career should be doing that.
They should be putting on better stories and better matches. That should be their way to answer anything he's saying.
Not that I'm a fan of them doing that anyway, because I'm like, come up with better shit, and people won't talk shit about the company. But now it's also like you have someone who is a Hall of Famer in a whole nother company and basically spent 25 years of his life in one company. Now you make him do it, and he's just as weird for agreeing to do that. Why would he agree to do that? That was so annoying.
Honestly, it was probably his idea.
I don't know.
That
I don't
makes
know.
it even worse.
Right, that makes it worse. I don't know whose idea it was, but if it was Tony's idea, Kenny Omega should have been that guy. That's bottom line. It should have been Omega out there cutting that
Yeah,
silly
exactly. If
ass
anybody was
promo.
going to do it, it should have been him or
Doing
the
it
Bucks.
in general is fucking weird, but
Hmm.
Edge agreeing to it, or Adam Copeland as they call him, he's even weirder for agreeing to it.
Hey,
Like,
money talks, man. Money talks.
that's
Money
what it
talks.
has to be. There's no way,
It has to
especially
be.
like a guy that's prided himself on like loving that company so much and like just completely turning his back on it, even if it's a character work or whatever. Just completely turning your back on the company is freaking weird, man. Like,
Punk said in that interview that he's not the only ex WWE guy that's going back to WWE that's in AEW. He's like, I'm not. He goes, I already know I'm not. He goes, there's going to be another big name is going to be going back after his contract's up. Who do we think
Matt
that is?
Hardy?
I think that's going to be Moxley, man. I think Moxley is like, all right, I've done this now. I've gotten my money from this, and he can't keep going at the pace that asshole goes because he's going to end up falling to pieces if he does. So once his contract's up, I think he's like, all right, guys, peace. I'm going back over here because it just makes sense, and your career. Hunter's there now taking care of everything. He left because of all the bullshit, all the Vince dumb storylines that he would okay and let go through. So I think Mox will be the next one. I think he goes back as John Moxley.
yeah,
That
No,
could be
it's very possible.
now.
What happened?
I said that him keeping that name is very possible now too. Now, I think I honestly think Ricky Starks is going to end up in WWE. I think
Definitely.
he can pretty much make that book that it's done. The second he's free agent, I think he's WWE bound. He's really close to Cody. He's seen what they've done and how they've treated him. He's seen how he was supposed to be like, oh, this next huge star, and then they just kind of stuck him to the side for a while. Then they give him the tag team championship for a little bit. Then they take that away. They're not really doing nothing with him. I think that I think he's gone as soon as
I think he's perfect for NXT.
Yeah, as crazy as this sounds, I don't think Punk said that shit for no reason. He knows something. He knows something. You know what I mean? Even if it's not like multiple guys, even if it's just one guy, because even if he just said it just to say it, I feel it's still the inevitable. Even if he doesn't know anything for sure, one of those guys is gonna end up over here. I think. You know what I mean? They're gonna end up in WWE. So
I don't think it's going to be Edge.
no,
I hope
the hell not. I want him to feel what he did.
Right. Yeah, it was silly. It just
I don't think that aspect of it's really a big deal. I just think that the whole idea of doing a period was corny. Like, there's just something I don't.
Oh no, it starts at the top, yeah, for sure. I just don't agree with agreeing to do it. That was corny as hell to me.
A lot of things they're doing right now is corny as hell. So the Bucks whole storyline is stupid, and you know that they're gonna go over FTR, and they're gonna make it like, oh, we did it at the beginning when you guys first came in, so let's like revamp it's gonna suck. They're gonna become tag team champs again, and with that stupid friggin' gimmick they got going on, I hate what they're doing. I've always hated what they do. It's not. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything nice to say about the Bucks.
For me, it's just the style of wrestling. I like a more grounded, like more realistic version of wrestling. They're just too many super kicks, too many unnecessary flips and rolls, and I'm just like, wow. Like if you were fighting, I would have just punched you in the face while you were doing all that. Like,
they have no character. Their characters are garbage. Like when they're heels, they're trash. When they're faces, they're trash. I just don't.
Douchebag's a character.
Yeah, they do that. They do that just well because that's who they are as people. You can probably
I mean, I
smell
don't
it.
know them personally, so, and I
Well,
wish them all the best, but they're not for me.
I don't. I don't wish you
Yeah, I
nothing.
don't think Brad does.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
no, you
not. And
definitely
like,
don't.
yeah, no, I don't know why, but I just don't like them one bit. They don't. AEW does not have many bright spots at the moment. Then they're bringing over. They brought over Okada. They brought over Osprey. They got some heavy hitters, but they're not going to know
They
what.
have no idea what to do with them.
Right,
No idea what to
nothing.
do with them.
I mean, right now it's for me and over there. What I pretty much tune in for is Swerve, Samoa Joe, Osprey, Jericho. Just because I'll always be a Jericho fan, unless I find out he like did some crazy, rapey type stuff, and then maybe not. But MJF obviously when he comes back. There's a handful of others. I like Take a Shit.
Take a shit is good. Yeah, take a shit's really good. He's
good. I like Ricky Starks. I like Powerhouse Hobbs. There's a lot of people over there I actually do like, but it's just the booking, like you said. It's just
yeah. They
Well, yeah,
have their
you tune in to see the people that you like in the hopes that something will get done about, guys with actual talent that actually have like worthy character work. But when the booking is bad, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do.
I just, like they're always bringing in people like the CMLL guys, and like they're just a bunch of like luchadors in masks, and it's like, who are these guys? Why do I care? Get them out of here. Let's build some storylines with the guys. Like
it'd be like you could be the same guy every match. We don't even know. It's like you could be bringing in 2 guys and he's playing 8 characters. Like they used to do back in the olden days,
you sound
back
like
in the
Bobby
Georgia
Heenan, right?
territories. So
Bobby Heenan was like, yeah, just bring. Why are we hiring 6 of these guys? Just hire 2 of them and have them switch masks.
Right. That's what that was an Oli thing too. Oli be like, yeah, okay, let's throw masks on them and we'll put them out there 4 times in one night. No worries. Pay them once. They're good. You already wrestled. But fellas, we got to be wrapping it up in a minute. So I want your final thoughts on WrestleMania 40. King, go for yours.
Yeah, man. Like I said at the beginning, it owes me absolutely nothing. I went there, didn't even have to pay for both nights. Shout out to the folks for getting me my night 2 tickets for me and my sister. So that was a good birthday gift.
That's dope.
So yeah, it owes me nothing. I had a freaking great time. Only a few minor like things that I wasn't a fan of. The 2 main events were absolutely worth every freaking penny. Some other cool matches were in there. I was in the building, so it owes me nothing. And I'm interested to see how some of the storylines progress after this, because obviously we have some interesting stuff coming up. Obviously we have a new champion. We had a new champion, then we have another new champion with Damian Priest. We have the women's on SmackDown. We'll see how that little faction branches off. So we got a lot of interesting stuff. I'm glad to see this quote unquote new era, the Paul Levesque era.
Yeah, they got to come up with a better name for it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
His last name's too much to be trying to the Paul Levesque era. It's they got to do something, and you don't want to call it the Triple H era. That's too much either. It's too wordy. Yeah. So they definitely need a name. I'm sure they will. It takes them a week. They'll come up with a name for it. The Renaissance era or some bullshit like that, which would kind of fit with him. Like.
No, I've seen that one thrown around, so I think it makes sense. But yeah, they'll come up with something.
Definitely. Shah, thoughts?
I loved it this year. It was dope. 2 nights is still kind of as an older gentleman.
It is. It's a lot
for that long. It's a lot of wrestling. I could do without the 2-hour pre-show. But as far as the show itself, it's definitely right now just. Quick review, probably in my top 10 WrestleManias of all time. I'd have to really sit there and, rate them, and it might be higher than that, to be honest with you. But yeah, man, it was awesome. I only had a couple nitpicks with it. I enjoyed every match for the most part. There was only a couple I didn't really care about. I like seeing R-Truth win a championship. That was cool.
I like that match too. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but that ladder match actually was.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was good.
But I was looking forward to it too, because that was like one of the only of those type of matches, really. So I was like, all right, I know we get to see some mayhem here. It was a dope match. I would hate to be Finn Balor after that match. That man took an absolute beating. But yeah, good match, entertaining. Both main events were amazing. Like I was saying earlier, The Rock looked like he hasn't missed a beat whatsoever. He looked amazing. I thought he wrestled way more than I thought I'd really even see him in the ring. So props to him. It was dope how they had them. It kind of played out exactly how I told my girlfriend it was going to play out, which is kind of funny. So I was kind of there looking like a genius the whole time, looking at her like, see, I told you. But I mean, we kind of, other than the people running in at the end part anyway, I kind of figured, they would win night one, and then it'd make it that much harder for Cody to win. But ultimately, he would overcome all odds because that's what he does.
I was surprised to see LA Knight come in the ring. Like, of all those people, made sense to Sami Zayn, Jey Uso.
LA
what the hell is
LA
LA
Knight
Knight?
lost to Roman recently.
Yeah, he
though.
lost to Roman, so he was like,
No, it makes sense in
last.
that aspect, but I'm talking about more so his like personal relationship with Cody. I'm like, I didn't
It was all supposed to be like the guys that recently feuded with.
Yeah,
no, I
Cody
got that.
actually said that at the press conference. Matter of fact.
Oh, okay,
But-
yeah. I didn't. I haven't seen the press conference, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch those.
I saw a clip of it. That's
I'm
actually.
not.
pretty
I'm not gonna. I'm staying unless CM Punk's ready to burn your company down. I'm not gonna watch any more scrums because they're not worth it. But yeah, it was a good show, man. It really was. Hopefully they can keep riding with this momentum because there was a point there where we didn't think we'd be giving them this praise. We on this show, our first show, I think we dogged WWE because Vince had just come back.
Yeah,
And they were in the tank, and AEW was killing them. And look, not even.
yeah. He came back, and it was before, I guess, that quote unquote meeting that they had with him, where they pulled him aside like, they'll stop changing the fucking show. Now look, at first I was like, I'm not sure if that meeting actually happened. I think looking back now, it probably did. Yeah, he was coming back, just changing slots on shows, cutting a lot of stuff that probably shouldn't have been cut, adding a bunch of bullshit that shouldn't have been, extending stuff. It was a mess.
Being him, and now
he got really trigger happy.
cohesive
I'm
unit.
getting back in that room. Yeah.
Next show we
Rock
got some
versus
talking
Cody.
to do about. Next show we got some talking to do about Vince anyway, because there's some new scandalous shits coming out every day about that guy. Between him and Diddy, I don't know who's the worst of the bunch right now.
Oh,
But damn, yeah, we'll leave that on as a cliffhanger for the next show, fellas. So give something to come back to. But it was a great episode. I mean, a great show, great episode having you guys back tonight. It's been a minute. Good to see y'all. And yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back very shortly. We never know when we're gonna do these, but we get around to doing them. So I want to thank you guys for joining me and Culture Corner Wrestling, man. We out. Peace.
Yep.
He's going for the gorilla press. He got it, did it. I believe it. It's over.
My life story like Black Rob drinking OE. That brolic shit broken down like Matt Hardy. See through these eyes of people my mind see. It's fucked up, ain't it? No need to remind me. But let me get to it. The stupid shit I was doing left other men dead of their lives. It's just ruined.